Hey kids, it's Mr. Fly here, hope you're well and welcome back to the Mr. Man Cave, where today I'm joined by the brand new for 2025 Honda CB1000 Hornet SP. So welcome back to the channel folks, and this quick fire look at the Honda Hornet SP. Now I've been lucky enough to be borrowing this bike from Honda for the last 2 weeks on a kind of extended test ride, and what I want to do in this video is take you through in the form of kind of advantages and disadvantages, all the pros and cons I've learnt about this bike. Now, in my first ride video, if you've not seen that, by the way, do go and check out the link in the corner for that one. I asked for any comments, observations, or questions you might have on the Honda Hornet. So I've covered that off a bit later in the video too, so stick around and stay tuned for that. Alrighty, let's crack on then with the positives. Right, first on my positives list then is the engine. This is an absolute beast of an engine. Don't be put off because people say it's an old engine. It's actually at the 2017 Fireblade, or it's a derivative of that, albeit it's been slightly tuned to be better on the road. It is an excellent unit, tried and tested, very reliable in the usual Honda way, but it gives a very exciting ride. I've said here, it's got a nice spread of torque and grunt, and that is the beauty of this. It's a 4-cylinder engine, but actually they've tuned it so that when you pull away, there is actually some go there. It's not a bit dead to start with and then only comes alive at the very top end. There is nice torque throughout the rev range, although it really does come alive after 7,000 RPM when it absolutely flies. So it is an exciting engine this. It's got massive power and yeah, it's an absolute peach. That's number one on my list of positives. Next up, just ease of use. It's just a beautifully put together bike and it's nice, it feels nice and light, and it's easy to move around your garage. It just works. There's nothing about it that makes life difficult for you. It's a very easy to live with motorcycle and I love it for that. So that's number 2 on my positives list. Number 3, handling of the bike. It's beautifully put together this in terms of its chassis. The geometry is just right, the rake is just right, turns in quickly, it's got great feel from the road, it's very, very flickable, feels nice and light. The handling on this bike, really, really nice, so that's number 3 on the positives list. Next up, this may seem like a silly one, but it's important to me, and that is the fact that when you turn the bike on and it's in kind of running light mode, both headlights come on. None of that nonsense about just having one light on because otherwise cars think it's the bike's further away than it actually is. That may be true, I don't know. But anyway, it just looks cool with 2 lights on, and I'm glad that Honda have allowed the new Hornet to be just that. All right, next on the positives list, who doesn't love a quick shifter? Comes on the SP as standard, but I think you can spec that up if you buy the standard bike as well. I think it's about 360 quid, something like that. Definitely worth having. Love a quick shifter. The one on the Hornet works absolutely beautifully too. Next thing I love about this bike is its simplicity. It's not overly laden with electronics and stuff like that. It does have ABS, it does have traction control, of course. They're non-IMU types, by the way, so it's not particularly complicated. It does have riding modes, you know, rain, sport, etc. But other than that, that's about it. That's all you need, isn't it? So nice and simple. You don't start it up and get absolutely boggled about what's going on. You just jump on and ride the thing, and I love the simplicity of the new Hornet. Next up, the big headlight and item when the Hornet first was released, and that of course is the price. For this, the top of the line SP version, $9,999 here in the UK, or if you want the standard bike, which comes minus the fancy Brembos and the Olins, etc., you can get that for $8,999. For a bike with 150 plus brake horsepower, with the looks of this bike, with the quality cycle gear, etc., I just think that is an absolute bargain. So thumbs up to Honda for the price. Right, I don't want to be Mr. Miserable, but there are a few things about the bike that I would put in the negatives. So what are the cons about the Honda Hornet? Well, stay tuned, I'll tell you. First up, a little bit of buzz through the seat at certain RPMs. It's not obtrusive, it's not the sort of buzziness and vibration that you put you off buying the bike, but it is there nonetheless. If you want to buy this bike because it's a 4-cylinder and you expect creamy smoothness, well, you ain't going to get that on this because there is a little bit of buzz through there. Think of it as character, maybe. Right, next on my cons list is the suspension is a little bit stiff straight out the box. It just wants to kind of almost bounce out the seat over our really rough, hideous roads here in the UK. But do not despair, of course, because the suspension is fully adjustable on here, so you can dial it in to make it as soft as you like. So yeah, probably a bit of a silly whinge that one, but I'm kind of clutching at straws for negatives on this bike. Next comes comfort on the Hornet, in that this seat is a little bit on the hard side, it has to be said, and when you've got your feet on the pegs, it is a little bit cramped around the old knees. So if you're a big person, I'm kind of a medium-sized person, 5'8", but if you're larger than me, you might find it a little bit cramped on here. So that's another one for the cons list. Right, well, I continue to clutch at straws to find bad things to say about the Hornet. One of the things that is a little bit disappointing to me is that there's no option for cruise control on the bike. So, yeah, if you're going to do a bit of touring, then you're going to be using the throttle the whole time. No option for cruise control on it. But then again, I guess Honda have to cut costs somewhere. And last but not least on my list of cons on the bike, for me anyway, is this matte finish on the bike. I don't think it looks as good as glossy paint, and there is some debate about how easy it is to look after, of which more a bit later. All right, enough whinging. Let's go over your comments now, the things, the observations and so on that you asked me to cover in the comments from the last video. Right, welcome to my study for this bit. So thank you to everybody that sent in comments and observations and so on. Many of you actually commented on the exhaust in particular, that it looked pretty horrible. But Biker Dave 8188 made another observation that I hadn't thought of. Thank you for writing in, Biker Dave. He said, at least the end can, etc., with the cat and so on, is all in the end can, so it's easy to get a good sounding exhaust without having to decat under the bike gubbins, which is a very good point that I hadn't thought of. He also said it's worth noting you can get an SC Project end can, which looks better. Is, however, another 895 quid, so suddenly that bargain price looks a little less bargain when you have to add that. But yeah, very good points, so thank you for that, Biker Dave 8188. Most seem to agree on the matte paint that it's, you know, potentially a pain in the backside to look after. However, Christos D said, I used to have a Suzuki GSX-S 1000F in the Phantom finish, i.e. matte black, and I absolutely loved it. If the new GSX-S 1000 GT was in the same matte black finish, I would have gone for that too. Never had any issues with keeping it looking good. I've heard a few people mention on different channels that it's a pain to look after, but I think it's just a jumping on the bandwagon kind of comment. So yeah, he was saying no issue looking after the matte black, so maybe that isn't the thing after all. I personally wouldn't, I just don't like the matte black thing, but good to have an alternative opinion, so thank you for that. Several commented on the frame looking cheaply welded. Yeah, that subframe is not bolted on, it is welded on, and yeah, some of the welds look a little bit, well, not maybe quite up to the standard you'd expect, but they're not bad, as hopefully you can see in the picture. 101 Steel 4 said that the panels are held on with Velcro to save money. Now, I have to say, I can't spot any panels that are held on with Velcro, so I'd like more detail on that, please, 101 Steel 4, if you're watching. Some asked if it's as good as the MT-09. Now, that's tricky. Now, it's different, isn't it, to an MT-09? I do love the MT-09. It sounds amazing. It's a triple, and that's kind of the difference. I think it's probably also a bit more expensive without having looked up the price. It feels a bit more agile. It feels little bit more nimble. It's certainly a smaller feeling bike between your legs, as it were. But it doesn't look anywhere near as good as the Hornet. As I say, the pricing's not quite there, and the Hornet's got way more power. So, you know, go with whichever one you like the look of, I guess. Someone asked me, where's it built? And I read actually yesterday in MCN that actually is built in Japan. So that's good news for some. Doesn't make a difference to me, but yeah, the bike's built in Japan apparently. And somebody else, sorry I didn't get your name, asked about the brake lines. They said, are they actually braided? I checked it out. Sadly, they're not. Despite the high-spec style Limbo brakes, it does have the rubber brake lines, but the brakes feel fantastic on the bike, so I don't think that's an issue. But it is a little bit surprising that Honda didn't go that one step further and put braided brake lines on. So there you go. That's some of the things that you asked me to take a look at on the bike in the last video. So hopefully that's answered some of those questions too. So what are my final thoughts on the bike? Well, of course, I love it. Hopefully that's come across quite clear. The price, the way the bike goes, the way it looks, the way it feels. It's an absolute winner, this bike. It is going to fly off the shelves. We all know that. I can imagine this is going to be bike of the year all over the place. Would I buy one? Well, the answer to that is very definitely yes. But which one would I have? And I've been left scratching my head slightly because I originally said that the SP was a no-brainer, what with the Olin suspension, the Brembo brakes, etc., for £1,000 extra. And that is true, you couldn't buy them for that for sure and add it. But the colour schemes are a bit naff on the SP, well, given it's just this one, the black. But I do love the gold wheels. So, you know, I'm wondering, for the sort of riding that I do just on the road, would I even notice the difference that the not having the brakes and the fancy suspension have? And I suspect maybe I wouldn't even notice the difference for my sort of fairly gentle riding. And I would probably prefer the colours. The red one that they do on the standard bike is an absolute corker, and you'd save yourself £1,000. So I'm thinking maybe actually the standard bike is worth considering. I don't know. If you get this standard bike in the red with the gold wheels, that would be definitely the best combo. So come on, Honda, give us some better colour options for next year. So that's it from the Honda Hornet for now. I hope you enjoyed that. And if you've not done so already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It'd be great to have you along. Loads more videos coming in due course. All right, until next time, this has been the Missenden Flyer. Cheerio. Hey kids, Mr. Fly here, hope you're well. Welcome back to the Mr. Man Cave and the new for 2025 Honda CB1000 Hornet XP. It's an SP, isn't it? We'll do it again. Hey kids, it's Mr. Fly here, hope you're well. Welcome back to the Man Cave and welcome to the brand new for 2025 Honda CB1000 Hornet SP. Let's do it all again. So welcome back to the channel folks and the 2025 Honda Hornet CB1000 SP. Today what I want to do is take you through a relatively quick fire video in the form of pros and cons on the bike. Now I've been living with this for the last couple of weeks. I've done everything I can on the bike to learn as much as I can in kind of an extended test ride. So in this video let's do it all again. Stop recording. So welcome back to the channel folks and to a final quick fire look at all the things you need to know about the Honda Hornet SP in this case. Now I've had this bike, lucky for me, for the last 2 weeks and I've got to know the bike as best I can in kind of an extended test ride. So what I want to do in this video is take you through the pros and cons that I've learned about the bike. Let's do that again. So welcome back to the channel folks and a final quick fire look at the Honda Hornet SP. And now I've been lucky enough to be borrowing this bike from Honda for the last couple of weeks and I've been getting to know the bike as well as I possibly can in kind of an extended test ride and learn as much, I've learned as much as I can. Let's do that all again.